A young boy leaves university just 2 weeks after starting, and his mother, convinced he's wasting his life, immediately kicks him out. Today, his company is valued at $5.2 billion, but that's not all. He has 470 million subscribers on YouTube, billions of views, and an Amazon show that was watched 50 million times in 25 days in 2015. They told him he was wasting his life. In 2025, he is worth more than conglomerates that are 100 years old. Among all the billionaires under 30 listed in 2024, he's the only one who didn't inherit his fortune. You probably know this young man. Mr. Beast. Hi, Team Mindset. I hope you're doing well. Today's question isn't going to be about how this young man did it. Don't worry, we'll talk about it. But I think it's more interesting to analyze the way the world has profoundly changed. And while most people cling to a model, get a degree, work hard for 40 years, then die, which is collapsing, he understood the new cheat code. The real question is, are you going to keep watching the game without being able to play? Or are you finally going to learn the new rules? Because there's a detail that nobody notices about Mr. Beast, a specific detail in the way he runs his business, which explains the $5.2 billion. And this detail, you'll understand what it is by the end of the video. Let's go. It's 2012 in Greenville, North Carolina. A teenager is in his room watching his screen. Jimmy Donaldson, the one the whole world will later call Mr. Beast, is 13 years old and has an idea in mind. He starts his YouTube channel. Like thousands of others before him, he plays Minecraft, Pokemon, or Call of Duty. Nothing revolutionary. These are some of the most ordinary videos hosted on the platform. His results match this ordinariness. Sometimes he gets 100 views, sometimes 50, or even less. Numbers that, for most people, would have been enough to bury the project, but not for him. For him, it's not a failure, it's a puzzle. Why doesn't it work? Why do some videos blow up overnight, while others, sometimes similar, sink into total indifference? For 5 years, he will sink into what he himself will describe as an unhealthy obsession. He studies virality like a science. He will dissect the algorithm, analyze the thumbnails, the titles, the durations, the structures, the retention. And from then on, he's not just trying to create videos anymore, but to understand the system. At school, he talks about nothing else, and his friends can't take it anymore. He says, people asked, "Do you only think about YouTube?" Get a grip. I thought I was abnormal. His teachers are fed up too, and at home, the pressure is rising. His mother ends up giving him an ultimatum. When he turned 18, she told him, "Jimmy, you go to university, you stay at home. If you stop, you're out." And like any good child, he listened to his mother, and he eventually enrolled at East Carolina University. On paper, it's the reasonable choice, the classic plan, the one that reassures everyone. But as you know now, he's only going to last a few weeks. When he leaves, of course, he doesn't have a diploma, but he has 30,000 subscribers. And above all, one certainty engraved in his mind. YouTube isn't a distraction, it's his future. And unfortunately for him, his mother keeps her word and ends up doing what she said she would. She kicks him out, and suddenly he's out on the street, without a diploma, without a home, or even a real plan B. And the only thing he has in his hands is a camera. And this obsession that everyone thinks is pure madness just keeps going and going. But what no one knew yet was that this idea would change his life and the lives of everyone close to him forever. It's January 2017. Jimmy is 18 years old when he posts what looks like the dumbest video in history. He counts to 100,000. Out loud without stopping, 40 hours of filming compressed into a 24-hour video. There are no special effects. And of course, zero budget. Just a kid sitting in his room counting 1, 2, 3, 4. And you might find that completely crazy or completely stupid, but it actually works. It gets hundreds of thousands of views in just a few weeks, which was huge at the time. That's the turning point. He reinvests everything he earned from that video to produce the next one, as he would explain later. I was putting aside $1 a day to buy myself a microphone. When I made a few thousand, I reinvested everything. When I made 10,000, I did the same thing. Every dollar becomes a tool for the next video, and each video has to surpass the previous one. The concepts start to get more and more ambitious, and of course, the budgets follow. Every time he puts everything on the line again, with the simple idea that the next video has to be better than the last. And it's not just a crazy move, he understood something. As long as he keeps putting everything back into the machine, it grows faster and faster. It's a real snowball effect. In 2024, in an interview with Time magazine, he made it clear. I reinvested to a point where you could call it stupidity, and it worked. Deep down, Jimmy wasn't just looking for a job. He was building a machine where each video strengthened the next, where each subscriber reinforced the system, where every view served as leverage to go even further. A self-sustaining cycle that grows, accelerates, and becomes harder and harder to stop. In 2018, he gave away $1 million in his videos. The following year, he doubled that, and then he doubled it again. At this point, it's no longer just a channel that's growing, but something else that's being born. In 2026, his main channel surpasses 469 million subscribers, and counting all his channels, the total exceeds 500 million cumulative subscribers. And to reach every corner of the planet, he has translated and adapted versions in Spanish, Portuguese, Hindi, Arabic, and even French. A content infrastructure that most traditional media have never managed to build. In 2025 alone, he generates nearly 20 billion views to give you a concrete idea. Even within revenue per thousand, which means revenue per thousand for his managers, between $3 and $6 per thousand views. That represents between $60 and $120 million in advertising revenue alone. YouTube. I don't know if you realize how huge that is. $120 million a year, is that the turnover of a League One club or the revenue of a movie like John Wick? And I can even tell you that he probably earns even more, because I myself have a revenue per thousand of around $9 on my crypto channel. And those potential 120 million, that's before sponsors and all those other businesses. YouTube isn't his business, it's just the engine of his business. In 2020, he launched Mr. Beast Burger. Without building a single restaurant, he relied on ghost kitchens and opened 300 outlets in a single night. 1 million burgers were sold in just a few weeks. Even though this experience will end badly, he will learn from his mistakes. To launch Feastable in 2022, a chocolate brand that quickly established itself with American giants like Walmart, with margins that are twice the industry average. And this time, it's not just merchandising, it's a real consumer brand, distributed nationwide and standing up to giants like Mars. And then Amazon comes knocking. In December 2024, Beast Game lands on Prime Video. There are 1,000 contestants and a prize of $5 million to be won, the largest in the history of reality television. The deal with Amazon is estimated at $100 million in 25 days, 50 million streams, the second biggest launch in the history of Amazon Prime. And behind all that, hundreds of employees, production studios, creative, logistics, and marketing teams. In 2024, Beast Industries generates $473 million in revenue, an increase of 114% in 1 year. Jimmy Donaldson is no longer a content creator. He is at the head of a next-generation media company that produces, distributes, sells, and dominates on all fronts at the same time. And he did all that without ever finishing his studies. Jimmy's story is not an accident. It's the symptom of a much deeper shift. Over the past 4 years, YouTube has paid out $100 billion to its creators, artists, and media partners. In 2024, its ecosystem alone contributed $55 billion to the United States gross domestic product, supporting the equivalent of 490,000 full-time jobs. And that's just YouTube. Globally, the creator economy, as it's called, was valued at $152 billion in 2024. It's expected to reach $715 billion by 2032. It's an industry that didn't exist 20 years ago, but now it's bigger than sectors that previous generations thought were untouchable. Kids, on the other hand, understood it before anyone else. In 2019, a study conducted by the Lego Group among children in the United States, the United Kingdom, and China revealed a rather striking result. YouTubers ranked ahead of astronauts among dream jobs. A few years later, in 2021, a Harris Poll survey showed that 29% of American children wanted to become YouTubers. It was the #1 job mentioned, ahead of doctors, engineers, or astronauts. But be careful, kids don't just fantasize about fame. They grow up. In a world where economic value is now created with a camera and an internet connection, a world where attention is worth more than oil, when an entire generation changes its professional reference, it's a sign that there's a shift happening. But that's where the story gets complicated, because this new economy is ruthless. Jimmy admitted it himself in a podcast. In 2025, the average person certainly wouldn't want to live my life. They would be unhappy because we work all the time. 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, no weekends or real breaks. The audience never sleeps, the pressure never lets up either, and the next video has to do at least as well. Otherwise, the comments go wild, the media talks about decline, and the algorithm punishes you. When you're Mr. Beast, the slightest mistake becomes global. In fact, in 2024, an old video of him with inappropriate jokes resurfaced. There was a public crisis, demands for explanations, apologies, and image management. That same year, contestants from Beast Game filed a lawsuit denouncing difficult filming conditions. At this level, there are no more small mistakes. Every controversy is amplified by hundreds of millions of subscribers. Every misstep is dissected. That's the truth we forget to mention when we talk about the creator economy. Yes, it can make you more powerful than a degree. It can give you a speed of growth and a freedom that no traditional career allows. But this new economy also exposes you much faster and much more intensely. The higher you rise, the more everything becomes visible, your successes as well as your mistakes. Where a degree can serve as protection, structure, and security, the digital leverage works differently. It speeds up everything, growth as well as downfall. For decades, the deal was simple. You work hard at school, you get a degree, the degree gets you a job, and the job gives you security until retirement. And for a long time, this model worked. But today, it's changing profoundly. What Jimmy's story shows us is not that degrees are useless. On the contrary, I tend to tell everyone who asks me for advice about starting a business to finish their studies, because no one can ever take that away from them. But it's just that a well-built lever will be worth infinitely more than a piece of paper issued by the university, especially at a time when AI is advancing at a crazy speed and job security no longer exists. A lever that works while you sleep gets stronger with every video and grows exponentially. Mr. Beast didn't replace his degree with talent. He replaced it with a system he repeated, refined, and strengthened until he became an unbeatable machine. And the good news, with all the technological advances today, is that it's not just reserved for him. YouTube is the best place to create a system that will work for you. And you don't even have to do what Mr. Beast does. You can share your passion and get paid. Without the media exposure and the stress that comes with it, I applied exactly this logic on my own scale. This channel, without showing my face, over 600,000 subscribers, a six-figure business. What I learned from Jimmy, however, is that it's not by chance or by luck with the algorithm that it works. It works through a clear, reproducible system that's designed to turn a YouTube channel into an asset. And I structured my 6 years of experience into a 6-week program called YouTube Empire. For those without a degree who want to understand how to turn YouTube into digital real estate that brings you rental income. The question isn't whether the opportunity exists, because yes, it does. But the real question is, do you want to keep watching the game or learn how to play it? It's up to you to decide.